Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Dr. Jim Sharps. As always, trying to give an original medicine perspective on all things lifestyle, nutrition, and other kind of connected topics. Great to have you back with us, and if this is your first time with us, do check out the channel. It's aimed at really demystifying a lot of information that's around there on the internet around alternative and natural approaches to health, lifestyle, and nutrition. So do check out our content. It's really aimed to inform and give you a good starting point for further exploration. But thanks again, Dr. Jim, for joining us. In terms of topics for today, would like to circle back to a topic we haven't covered specifically for a little while, and that's RBTI, Ream's biological theory of ionization. So it's something that IIOM, we're very focused on. We're very excited about its potential, especially in the kind of global environment we find ourselves in, as a tool to really empower more informed health decisions at an individual level. So Dr. Jim, perhaps you could just start us off by giving a very brief summary of what is RBTI, and just give us a framework to explore a bit further today.
Okay, one of my favorite topics. Okay, RBTI stands for Ream's biological theory of ionization. So Reams is the discoverer, Carrier Reams. Biological is biological life. Theory is the what are the principles involved, and ionization. And so biological ionization is fundamentally how are biological forms taken apart and put together ion by ion.
Interesting. Thank you for that, Dr. Jim. And in terms of, you mentioned ions, this is biology and chemistry 101 that I'm a little far removed from. Could you maybe just break down the role that energy transfer plays in RBTI and that ionization theory?
Yes, the biological ionization theory, like this theory of relativity, is a mathematical formula. So this mathematical formula, you can express energy gain and loss in the body. So you're analyzing urine and saliva, and as if you're gaining energy, you're adding to health and vitality. As you're losing energy, you're losing health, vitality. You're losing functional integrity of cells, organs, tissues. And this can be measured mathematically. And so these energy packets, if you're taking in less energy than you're expending, you're losing in that equation. If you're taking in more than you're giving up, then you're on the plus side of that energy equation. And from a health standpoint, as you're losing energy, and this mathematical formula will show you where and how and why you're losing that energy, it manifests itself in hundreds of named diseases and conditions. But in fact, this energy movement is pluses and minuses in energy. And that's what that theory of biological ionization does so well, better than any other system that's out there.
Yeah, clear. And in terms of that ionization, again, just mining into that a little more, how does the RBTI model explain the production of ions in biological systems? And what's the relevance for somebody that's watching this video and saying, ions, ionization, what relevance does that have for me in my daily life?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what are these ions? Nobody talks about ions. They talk about atom cells. Ions are the very smallest energy packets that there are for anything that's in nature. And there's two types of ions. They are anions, AN, with ion attached, or cations. And it basically is an expression of, first of all, an ion has a cation as its nucleus, and one or more anions electronically rotating around that nucleus. And vice versa, a cation, it has an anion nucleus, and then that normal electron thing you see, is one or more cations that are rotating on the as electrons in the outer shell. So that's what those ions and cations are. They're those small energy packets. Specifically, an anion is the very smallest energy packet in the universe. It technically is 1 to 499 Milhouse units of energy. A Milhouse unit of energy is an energy packet. So it could be 1 to 499 energy packets, energy units, Milhouse units, or a cation is the next smallest substance, and that's 500 to 999 Milhouse units. And so you have these combinations of all of these anions and cations, which are expressed in minerals and other things that are going through that are working in the body, and at thousands of transactions. Something that is very new to people is the fundamental foundation of all biological life, of everything in the universe. Yet we haven't had 1 minute of any class, I haven't, in over 20 years of formal education. But that's what it is. These energy packets that are the expression of all everything in the universe. So a good way for me to have people kind of understand it is just go back to Genesis, and all of this is biblically based. And it opens with saying, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That could be translated from a biological ionization standpoint. In the beginning, God created the anions and cations. And from there, everything else proceeds.
No, that's very clear. And in terms of, you mentioned from a biblical basis, there may be many people watching this piece of content that don't share that biblical basis as a foundation to kind of make choices in terms of their lifestyle, nutrition, etc. What type of evidence is used to support the RBTI model? And if you could speak to that from a kind of a more scientific basis, I think that would be interesting to unpack for those that come from a slightly different perspective.
Right. You're right. People coming from a lot of different spiritual perspectives. They might not believe in God, but they believe in something. They believe in the universe. They believe in nature. It's just around them, and they can attribute to a lot of things. Of course, from a biblical standpoint, God created everything. So they can come up with their theory of where all these anions and cations have come from. But in point of fact, the biological theory of ionization is a theory, just like any other theory, like Einstein's theory or the theory of this, that, or the other thing. The fact is, nobody has ever disproven the theory. So it's a theory. This is what it says. This is what it expresses in terms of biological function, in terms of everything in the universe, and nobody has disproven it. So it's like saying, what is the scientific basis for Einstein's theory of relativity? It's called a theory, but everything, all of physics is based on it and is explained by it. All biological function is explained by the biological theory of ionization, and it's a scientific premise that nobody has ever disproved. And one of the reasons that got me excited about it, because I had a lot of those same questions, and when the Reams, the discoverer, was provided some 10,000 cases by medical doctors of incurable issues, and 15,000 other cases over a year period of time. He had some 25,000 different cases that he was working with. And at the end of the year, using his biological ionization, all of those got well, improved, except 4. When I saw that, I said, this is a pretty powerful theory. And so is that kind of evidence that basically is the scientific foundation, if you will, of its function, of its superiority, its integrity and the credibility that is behind this this mathematical formula for health.
No, that's very clear, and I think that's an important point to kind of bring out in terms of the basis. And I think one of the things to re-emphasize in this channel and how we approach anything to do with nutrition, lifestyle from the perspective of original medicine is really to encourage anybody that's consuming this content to start researching and investigating for yourself, to really kind of be more informed and make more informed decisions about your body, your health, your nutrition, your lifestyle, because that informed decision making I think is really important to having a balanced and fulfilled life that original medicine really is all about enabling. So thank you for kind of clarifying that, Dr. Jim. And just a final question, perhaps, if I may. How do the ideas of RBTI relate to kind of modern health and nutrition? So how does the kind of where we started with the ions and the atoms, how does that then connect at a very, very practical level with kind of more mainstream nutrition and health theories?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So now, how does one use biological ionization, that mathematical formula, very practically in terms of addressing health and vitality? And as I said, it's a mathematical formula. And with this mathematical formula, with the kind of things that you're measuring is oxygen availability and utilization, the speed of digestion, the mineral content or deficiencies in the body, whether or not there's too much salt in the body that's affecting your heart, that's affecting the tissues, whether or not you're not releasing enough cellular debris as a function of all the foods they're eating and all the inputs. Are they being held in? Are they being eliminated? So it's going through all of these metabolic and physiological functions. It tells you the status of what those key functions are. It's telling you if you have enough of the right minerals for your brain to function right. And as I indicated, these anions and cations that I spoke about, from a health standpoint, it's really the minerals that your body has. And where do you get your minerals from? You get your minerals from plants. You can get it from meat. You can get it from a number of sources. But it's getting those mineral sources. And from a very practical standpoint, human beings are like plants. Plants basically, if the minerals are there and you have the air, the water, the sunlight, it knows how to flourish. And based on the integrity of the air, water, sunlight, the soils, and the cyclical processes, that determines the health and vitality of that plant, whether it's susceptible to insects or high quality. Same thing with human beings. There are these 8 laws of health, just like the laws for plants: air, water, sunlight, nutrition, exercise, proper rest, exercise, avoiding things that are problems, that divine power, that underlying power. From a biblical standpoint, that divine power comes from God. So that all of that power. Now you can have other theories of where that power is coming from, but it's those 8 things put together and integrated in comprehensive fashion that determines health and vitality. So that, in a nutshell, is how you use the biological theory of ionization in analyzing various health conditions. And it also shows you those things that are missing, those deficiencies that when supplied, just like the plant knows what to do when you have the proper environment, you give the body that proper environment, it knows how to heal itself, and it knows how to function with absolutely outrageous health and vitality. And if I can just kind of cap on that, there are basically 5 zones that you can look at in terms of where these numbers lie: A, B, C, D, and E. And so if you're in that A zone, that's optimum health and vitality. That's perfect health. And as you go away to B, C, D, and E, you're losing those energy packets that we talked about earlier, those anions and cations, but those minerals and those substances that are taking you away from perfect. And then, as I noted, from a health standpoint, whether it's allopathic, naturopathic, anybody's pathic, they describe it in terms of different health outcomes, whether they're outrageous vitality, outrageous health and vitality, or, like I said, just hundreds of different kinds of conditions, named conditions, which are the deficiencies and the shortfalls of those characteristics, those 8 laws of health that I refer to. So that's kind of a long-winded way, but it kind of gives you a fundamental foundation of the practicality and the power of this analytical tool.
Dr. Jim, thank you so much. Really breaking down something that's over my head, certainly, but you've really helped break it down. If you're really coming to terms with ions, atoms, still kind of getting to terms with that, do check out the wider content on our channel. We're more than happy to go over that, and there is content that we have covered in the past that looks at this from different angles that may help build out the picture for you. But if you still do have questions, comments, any concerns even, do leave us a comment here in the comment section of the video. We do monitor the comments and we do our best to reply. Again, our aim on this channel is to demystify a lot of the information that goes around about natural and alternative therapies and give you a trusted source to inform your further research and discovery. So that's all for today. Hope you've appreciated the content with Dr. Jim. I really appreciate your insight.